Yeah, they did.
I found out from Troy.
We've been trying.
It was, and this is where he's explaining it. They did it right, but one sentence got added later.
And that's the
All
one
the
that's been
confusion.
Oh, we're there, sorry. Okay, we will call our meeting to order. We appreciate everyone being here in attendance. We'll begin with an invocation by Councilmember Millsap and the pledge by Councilmember Ellingson.
Our dear Father in heaven, we're glad to be gathered here together in this great city, and we're glad for all of the work that residents and staff members put in to make this city so wonderful. We're glad for the spirit of cooperation we have here and for the collegial spirit on the council we have. And we ask your guidance tonight that we'll be able to make good decisions. And we ask a blessing upon all of our efforts here in Springville, that they will yield good fruit. And this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the meeting's agenda as printed.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'd like to welcome any youth who are here and any scouts or anything that are here for scouting or for your school projects. You're welcome to come up and sit on the stand with us. There's candy in the drawers.
We promise.
So you're welcome to come up if you want to and spend as much time up here. It's a little more interesting. So would you like to do that? Yes? No? A little nerve-wracking? You're under a lot of pressure. Okay, sounds good. Well, make sure your dad stays seated, okay? So, very good. Anybody who would like to make public comment, we have a period of time during the meeting in which you can make public comment. You have 3 minutes. It's not a discussion, it's an opportunity to make a presentation if you'd like to. And I have 3 who have given me, 4, excuse me. And we just ask you that they're out in the foyer to fill out and make sure that you get them to Kim, and we'll be happy to fill those out at the appropriate time. We'll give you a chance to make the comments. So. All right. We have 2 items on the consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda? Okay, I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the items on the consent agenda.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
A second.
Okay, it's a roll call vote because there is a resolution on there. Jake?
Yes.
Mindy?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Logan?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Oh, we've got some that want to come up here, is that right? Oh, nice. Nice. Okay. They're up here for the candy. Sugar them up, folks.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Okay, come sit right over there. There you go. Wow.
Mayor, were you going to cover that public comment, or?
I am. Yep. Okay, we're going to go to the public comment section of the meeting and give Emily Anderson a chance to come up and speak for 3 minutes. Is Haley Elizabeth Mueller here? Okay, I have a comment from her. Chris Reese. Okay, and Robert LeBaron. Okay, very good. Emily, you're on. There we go.
Hello, here I am again. 3rd time, I think, but this time I feel prepared, and it's a little different than the first time when I was prepared, but I was just bringing the issue to your attention. So I hope this is valuable for you. I came with a presentation this time. So this is just a very quick look at the original or semi-original Springville plat map. We look at, and one of those down in quadrant 3 is an ancestor of mine, and each house was given 2 acres. And, obviously that was a different time. It did not take long before they split those blocks into 4 and kind of got to more what we have today.
Who was
but-
your ancestor?
Charles Hewlett, so top left of that third block. But I feel like a lot of the spirit that came from those original settlers still exists in Springville, and one of the things that has most impressed me is the preparedness drills and how the wards and stakes and cities work together with this. This is a picture I took this week in a church building with 2 separate stakes having preparedness activities. And although none of these are specific to chickens, the stakes have put on classes for caring for chickens as part of preparedness efforts. And I just think that allowing backyard hens and chickens is something that really matches with Springville's goals and with what I've seen in Springville. And, you know, we passed the law allowing chickens in 2014. And this is a screenshot that's up to date of one of the more recent challenges that we face and need to be prepared for. I'm sure all of you remember that early 2025 spike in egg prices and dip in egg production and availability, and that's not something that's going away. We're going to expect that. You can see this year we're already starting to do that. And so I think as Springville residents are thinking of what they need to be prepared for, supply chain disruptions are kind of the top thing I think that people are preparing for now. And that's backyard chickens is a way that we can prepare for getting protein without needing to rely on those outside trucks to make it to Springville or local grocery stores. So this is from a recent survey. I'm sure you are all familiar with it. I think it was the last city council meeting. But people in Springville said they loved the small town feel, the atmosphere, sense of community, quiet, peaceful neighborhoods, and kind of that rural aspect. And I know you all probably remember that they also want more businesses. But I don't think you have to pick between the two. We have this area close to the freeway where we can have all of those businesses, and we have a quieter town area that we can have closer to the mountains. And I think that's one of the things that's great about Springville is that we can have both. We can have that small town, rural feel, and the businesses, the access to mountains. So this is the proposal that I saw and I don't know if it will change before the March 3rd hearing, but this is what I have. We were told by Laura Thompson that she was told to keep the law the same. And in my mind, this does nothing to keep the law the same. It's canceling out almost half of that first paragraph, which is kind of the meat of the law. And so, you know, I agree there is dispute over what those provisions that large lots have is. That's why I came to you the first time. But I don't think that canceling that is what keeps the law the same. And I think that there are other people like me who came to Springville seeing this sentence and believing it meant what I thought it meant.
Okay, thank you. We've gone your 4 minutes now, so
Okay,
we appreciate you coming, and thank you very much for
I'll start
coming.
with this slide next in 2 weeks.
Okay, that'll be great. Thanks, Karen. Or Emily, excuse me. I have some other comments that since they're not here to make their presentation, I'm just going to give them to Kim and let Kim have you enter these into the record. Would that be okay? Okay, sounds good.
Can I also say, Mayor, just for the sake of anyone who's watching, we've all received quite a few emails on this subject, and so
Yeah.
even though some of those weren't read aloud tonight, they have been received by
Yes.
all of us.
And just for the public's interest is that in 2 weeks, during the work session, we will have just a work session in relationship to this and give the staff a chance to be able to present to the council kind of the history on this whole law, if you will. It's not open for public comment. It's just a work session between staff and the city council. Then on March 3rd is that we will open it up again for a discussion in relationship to the ordinance and kind of the proposal that the staff is making to the city council. And to Emily's point is that in 2 weeks, you're welcome to make another 3 to 4 minute conversation with the city council. And this happens every 2 weeks. People are we're willing to have people come and do this sort of thing. So we appreciate those who do come. So thank you. Okay, let's go to number 4 in relationship to Josh. We got a resolution amendment to the development agreement on Lakeside Landing.
To clarify as I begin, thank you, Mayor, you'll actually be voting on an ordinance to adopt this amendment to the development agreement if you so choose to do so.
And just quickly, the purpose of that is, and a development agreement is considered a land use regulation, and in state law, you're supposed to adopt land use regulations by ordinance.
Correct. Thank you, John. You're all familiar with Lakeside Landing. We adopted the Lakeside Landing Special District Overlay in December of 2021 and executed and recorded the development agreement in April of 2022. That agreement established vesting periods, which are simply periods during which the parties to the development agreement cannot change the rules of the ordinance without agreement of all parties. So there's 2 particular vesting periods that are contained in the Lakeside Landing Development Agreement. The first is regarding what the legal team has coined design rights. Those are essentially all of the regulations surrounding architecture, landscape design, thoroughfare design, all of those elements of how you build things. And those have a specific vesting period of 5 years. And under this proposed amendment to the development agreement, it is proposed that that vesting period be restarted.
It's actually 6 years.
Oh, sorry, 6 years. Thank you, John. And then there's a longer vesting period for what are essentially the rights for what you can build or how many units the code allows you to produce in the plan. And those rights are a longer period, and that period is not restarted or altered at all with this amendment. It just continues from the original adoption date of 2022. The main element of this amendment is to remedy the element that was defaulted on by the development partners. Originally, the development agreement had a park completion timeline for what we call the North Community Park, or the North Neighborhood Park and the South Neighborhood Park, of April 2025. One of the development proponents at that time expressed a concern to me that we're really going to have to figure out how to handle the access to the new residents and the access to the transfer station while the transfer station is still operating. So clearly we weren't just picking a number. There was confidence that they would be moving people in. And as we can see, the transfer station's been gone quite a while, and we're not quite moving dirt down there yet. So in order to avoid coming to another point when we're in a default situation just based on a timeline, the proposed amendment to the development agreement contemplates a deadline wherein no more than 40% of the units may be issued a building permit in either the north or the south area until those parks are completed. So the developers can build up to 40% of those units and occupy those, but we can't issue any more building permits until the North Neighborhood Park is completed for the north area and the south for the south. So that is the new threshold for park completion.
So why hasn't dirt been moving down there? Why haven't the parks been started? If the threshold was get the parks done first.
That's definitely a question that the city has. We have some reasons we see. The development side has reasons they see, and it's generally that I don't know why. I can't speak to why they didn't build the parks, but we can speak generally to why the development process has been slow. But perhaps I'll defer to John.
I get that, but
Well, originally, I think everything was going to move fast, and so the parks would be there with development, and so there'd be roads and everything else, and also some buildings. But as development often occurs, it doesn't go as you expect, and so it's been kind of a bumpy road, and there's nothing there right now. So even with the parks, if they were out there, we'd have a tough time to maintain them as a city.
So how do you manage that if the different parcels are being sold to different developers and all that sort of stuff? How does that work to where the park gets actually built when it's supposed to? The burden falls on one developer as opposed to another. How do you manage that?
There are two areas defined in the development agreement, the north and the south area. And independent of who is requesting the building permit, who has built so far, we simply will not issue more than 40% of the building permits in the north or the south area until that park has been done. And while the development agreement does flow with the property, in that any people that purchase property become subject to that development agreement, we anticipate, and it's been communicated to us, that the two development entities, at least at this point, will plan to meet that obligation.
So
But it is a difficult question, but where we could end up with somebody saying, hey, well, I want to build my next house, and we can say, well, you can't. And they say, well, I'm not on the hook to build the park. I just bought 10 lots. So that's a good question.
that's what I'm asking. So
Yeah, who's gonna build those parks?
There's still an assignment clause in the agreement, right? So if building is assigned to anyone, the council has to take action on that.
So, but I mean, do we like take the 100 lots? Do we take 1/100th of a price of the lot and put it in an escrow until we reach a certain threshold to build the park? I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of
No.
protecting the city so that we don't suddenly build 39% of these lots, and then all of a sudden we're up against no park being built. We have a developer who's got all the benefit of no park, and he's got his profit margin out of it, and now everybody else is on the hook for building the park. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
Yeah, we believe that it's not possible to build 40% of the lots and come out in the green on the project. In terms of them conveying unbuilt properties or super pads, the current participants in the agreement, to other builders, and kind of dividing that responsibility, as Troy mentioned. Any and all assignments of property that are affected by this development agreement have to be approved by the city. So that would give us an opportunity to address any uncertainty with individual assignees down the line in terms of what their specific obligation may be towards the park if they're just buying a minority number of lots. But other than that, I would defer to John.
No, I think it's a great question, and this is something that, and I haven't been in all the discussions, but Troy and Josh and the developers have gone back and forth on. One thing that Josh mentioned that is, in my mind, something that's pretty crucial in this is there's a lot of infrastructure that has to go in, and so just putting all the infrastructure in and building only 40% of the lots, you're not going to get back the money you need to for the cost of the infrastructure. So we are kind of relying on developers, and we're kind of relying on how the system moves forward.
So why wouldn't the city, then I'm going to be quiet. Why wouldn't the city say, okay, developers, good, we went a period of time, it didn't get built, lots of reasons why it didn't get built. Now we don't want this to ever happen again. You're going to have to post a $5 million bond to us, letter of credit or something, so that we know that a park is going to be built, kind of put their feet to the fire. Why wouldn't we do that? Help me understand what.
We could do that. I mean, it's something right now because the purpose of this amendment is to basically allow the development agreement to continue forward, because they did miss that date back in April of 2025. But again, through the discussions, this is the agreement that's coming to the council that both the staff and the developers have sat down and hashed out. And so great comment is something we could go after. One of the things that is in the development agreement is it continues to go up the price of the park that they have to put in. there's an inflationary component to this, and so the longer they take, the more expensive the park is going to be for them to install. But I don't know if Troy has something to add to that, but that is a great question.
I'm just trying
I don't
to
really
not
have a-
have this experience in 3 years or 5 years.
Or to
thing all
have
over
40%
again.
built out and we don't have a park and everything
Right.
else. And then we have to go after the other 60% to put the park in because the 40% didn't do anything with it. I think it's all great questions.
One of the developers is here, so if the mayor or council has any question, you can certainly address
There
it.
you go, Glenn. You're on, buddy. Yeah, please.
So good question. We,
Glenn, can you just state your name for the
yeah, Glenn Lent, and I'm one of the owners out there. We can do whatever you really want to do, but I think where maybe Troy was going with this is that, before we what's taken so long essentially has been the utilities out there. So we've got a $7.5 million worth of infrastructure that we have to build before we even get to that 40%. So, you're worried about the park, which I understand, but we won't even get to 40 until we've spent $7.5 million building a sewer treatment plant, a sewer force main all the way to a sewer lift station, a force main all the way to the sewer treatment plant, and an offsite PI. Part of the reason that we haven't built the park is, number one, we don't have PI out there. So we couldn't irrigate it. But, for us, time is money. We all know that. And we've spent a whole lot more time than we ever wanted to trying to figure out, number one, what utilities were out there, and number two, what needed to be built before we could even get started. So it's taken time. It's hurt us. But if you're concerned about it, let's figure something out. The end-all say-all is the most of the $7.5 million will have to be reimbursed back to us because of impact fees and the way those things work. So, I would say that there's even, if you're concerned about it, there could be some kind of clause. If we go ahead and we spend the $7.5 million, maybe before we get reimbursed, before the park gets built, you hold on to those reimbursements as opposed to a new bond that we've got to go out and we've got to raise more capital, or we've got to, buy a surety bond or do something along those lines.
Yeah, and my comments are not to hurt you at all. I'm just trying to figure out not to get in the same spot we're in a few years, so.
Well, and we, honestly, we probably should have come back over the last 3-4 years and said, hey, and I'm sure staff has brought you up. It's just a challenging site, and we underestimated the utilities that would need to be built, and there's probably some maybe frustration that it hasn't started yet. The good news is we're super close. We do know now what we have to build, and we're in a position where we can actually get started. Sewer's been the hard one, and we do have some existing sewer capacity, and with some recent things that have happened is going to free up some of that capacity for us to get started. So we'll actually start our entitlements on a lot of that, hopefully in the next few months, really. So, any questions for me that anybody has? I appreciate your patience. It's, like I said, it hasn't been ideal for us either, but it's going to happen, and it's going to be a phenomenal community. And we've got just a phenomenal group of builders that are very excited to be out here. So builders that build in Daybreak, that recognize the nuances of the community, it's going to be nice.
Do you have any retail capacity out there at this point? I mean, are you bringing retail in, and do you have any prospective retail clients?
You know, we haven't, my piece, I haven't really we have a retail component to it, but it's not big enough retail that we're out chasing retail owners. It's more mixed-use product, you know, residential up above, mixed use on the ground floor. It's our stuff, and UBA's not here. They have more than that, but our stuff will be, you know, it'll happen over time. The retail will. Now, I mean, I don't know if I can speak to this or not. Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
I don't know if you realize where Glenn's property is. So his property is the northern property, and then UBA, which he's mentioned, is the southern property that's
south.
down by 4 South, and that's got more of the commercial component to it.
We've been in meetings with our neighbors to the west that have talked about significant retail there. That's all I can say. I've just been in a few meetings about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other questions for Glenn or Josh? Thanks for being here, Glenn.
I just
Yeah.
have clarification for Josh. Sorry.
Okay.
But thank you very much, Glenn.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So the 40% you said in the two areas, is that a combination of 20% north, 20% south?
No, it's 40% in each.
Each
They are
area.
separate areas, and we won't issue more than 40% in the north area until that park is done. And then separately, we will not issue more than 40% in the southern area until that park is done.
And that will be significant amount of people living there to then force the park to come in. Is that what you're thinking? Why you chose 40%? I guess why 40% in both areas?
Yeah, I'm trying to review the.
We can have Glenn review this or not, but in the discussions, and I was there, and they're represented by council, and we had Chris Greer in those meetings, and I think the mayor can appreciate this. A lot of the discussion really is a cash flow discussion. Glenn raised the issue of sewer costs. Okay, we've got to add $7 million to it and spend that all up front before we start getting money back from homes. You've got the same thing happening with the park, that they're going to have a multi-million-dollar outlay of capital to do that, and they need kind of enough happening within the house to kind of not hamstring them from being able to complete the project. So it's a balancing act on this side, and I'm kind of the one, and I think Glenn would agree with this, that from the very beginning a year ago is kind of like, what's in this for the city? What's in this for the city? Why would we do that? But as we work through the issues, we believe this is a fair agreement for both sides that allows the project to get itself off the ground while still protecting the city.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
in short, we want it as soon as possible, and the developer would prefer to delay it as long as possible, and 40% is where
In
we.
some respects, they want to delay from a cash flow standpoint,
But
it's
not
also
for
an
their
amenity
residents.
to
Right,
to their development. So they need to show the people that are interested in their homes that it's coming too. So there's both sides.
It's more the result of a negotiated agreement than we proffered a number that we had a specific tie to.
Okay. And there's no time component now.
No, there's no time component.
On the building, but there's still a sunset of the entitlements, right?
There
Correct,
is.
and the
So
vesting
the
periods.
vested rights on the design standard is 6 years, and that's what the original one was, and so they're just restarting those 6 years.
Great.
And already, there's been a number of things that have been changed since the original agreement with the zoning, based upon both what the council wanted and what the developer. So there's still some room for negotiation, but you just gotta be careful, because now the agreement controls. We just have to come back and negotiate something different.
Thank you. That was all my questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
So the agreement also says that the park has to be substantially completed before they'll get more than the 40% building permits. So what is substantial, and who decides what substantial is and what these parks are designed to be? I mean, you can have a grass area and say, my park is now done,
Correct.
versus all the different components that could go into it.
Yeah, we spent some time on that. substantial is defined, and the determination of substantial is, I believe, assigned to the Parks and Recreation Director. But substantial is essentially, it has to be, everything that is planned has to be complete and safe for use.
Yeah, so, I mean, the language in this, hopefully this is what you're referring to. Substantially completed when all amenities, landscaping, and infrastructure are installed, less any reasonable punch list items. And so that's kind of a common phrase for a building or a development. You have punch list items at the end. So you can still utilize it. You can still go in on the property or in a building, but there's still some painting, or maybe there's some trees to be planted or something that way. And then it says, and the park meets life safety standards for its intended use, as reasonably determined by the Springville's Park and Recreation Director. So Stacy gets to make that call. She can't be unreasonable. She still has to say, hey, it does meet life safety. All the amenities are in. There's just this list of things that has to happen before it comes. Maybe there's something on a playground that needs to be tightened or something that way. And if it's not safe, then she has to say, hey, it's not safe. But if it's just adding like a cosmetic thing to the playground, say, hey, it's on its way. We'll add that later. So, I mean, that's kind of the difference. Hopefully I gave a good enough description, but that's what we're looking at.
Who's designing the park? Is it us or is it the developer?
Together. So it'll be Stacy and her parks crew will be working with Glenn and their crew when it comes to developing it. So they're designers. And they've already gone back and forth on some ideas. There's still some ways to go, but they've gone back and forth on what both parties want this to look like. So.
And it can be built within the budget.
Yes. Well, and also too, this the impact fees that are generated by the residential development here for parks, this is in addition to. So you have $1 a square foot dollar amount, plus you're collecting impact fees on all the residential. So hopefully, when it's done, you'll not just have these two parks, but you'll also have 10 plus other acres of parks that will come in because of the impact fees.
Other questions? Okay, Josh, thank you.
And this comes to you with a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Planning Commission.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll motion to approve resolution number 20.
Number?
Yeah, it's an ordinance. Thank you. Good catch, Kim.
It has written resolution, so.
It does. We did this last
Is
minute.
it the same number?
Ordinance 02-2026.
Yeah,
Got it.
same number.
Okay, I'll motion to approve ordinance 02-2026, the First Amendment to the Development Agreement for Lakeside Landing Property between the City of Springville, Lakeside Land Partners, and Davies Design Build.
Okay, I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mindy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Logan?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Got that, Glenn? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. And you got that because your boy was here. You're the lucky straw, buddy. Okay. Very good. Other items that need to be brought up with the city council.
I have a quick administrative.
Yep,
item.
yep.
The printer spit out a very impressive proclamation.
That is
Wow.
very big.
We're going to switch over.
Do we say hear ye, or is that you? Is that
Hear ye, and whereas, and wherefores.
That's almost like a scroll.
Yeah, exactly.
This will be good because Mike needs this to be able to read it at this size wise.
I definitely do. I can do this without my glasses. I'm very excited. I heard the mayor talking a little bit about council assignments, and that just prompted me a reminder that we're quickly approaching the time for appointing replacement members of boards and commissions out there. And now that kind of you've heard those assignments, and for the staff, I think we're going to get those, hopefully get those assignments written down so we can get those to the staff tomorrow. But 4 years ago, associated with the first time we did this with Mayor Packard, we put a policy in place on the process to replace people on boards and commissions. Now, before we get to this document, half of the members of your boards and commissions have expiring terms, and we'll ensure that each of you get a copy of the boards and commissions document so that you know which terms are expiring. Since we started some of the boards, well, several of the boards were started 4 years ago, we offset those expiring terms. But that also means that pursuant to the ordinance, everyone that's expiring now is eligible for another term. Now, that's something that you decide, mayor and council, whether people are reappointed or who puts on those boards. But by our ordinance, people can serve 8 years, and there's some other exceptions, but all of those that have been 4 years could serve an additional term. The mayor is asked by this policy that if you as a council member are assigned to a particular board, that you provide a list of names to him for those positions. You're encouraged to, and our staff knows, to be a support to you and anything you would like to do with those potential appointments in terms of giving suggestions or helping define geographic diversity or anything you're looking to do. Once you have kind of some names in mind and the mayor clarifies those, they're in paragraph 2. After conferring, the mayor will give a nod of the head of potential names. You can interview those people, you can do different things, but really I think the important thing is there that the council member will then approach prospective board members. Really, there's a process in place before we approach people to be on a board and commission, so you can avoid that awkward, hey, I'm going to talk to you about being on a board, and then through the whole process, that appointment ends up not happening. These are approved or ratified by the council, so they need to be on an agenda, and that's paragraph 4. And then we'll do some administrative things to let them know what's happening and train the new board members in their responsibilities and kind of take it from there. The ordinance expires those terms on March 31st. So the last regular council meeting to have names for appointment for April will be March 17th. So again, that's coming up very quickly. By ordinance, people kind of will continue till a replacement is done. So if you don't get it done by then, like, we won't cease functioning. But those are kind of the deadlines that we're looking at.
So do the people currently on the board, do they have to fill out an application, or can we just submit their name for approval?
Yeah, if you can go through 1 and 2, paragraphs 1 and 2 on that. You can discuss that back and forth, and if the mayor's like, yeah, I'm fine with those 3 people are reappointed, then we talk to them and have them fill out an application and then put it on the council agenda.
Yeah, and I give it, because I don't know everybody that's on these different committees, but just as a suggestion, strong suggestion is I'm looking for people that are reasonably mainstream. I don't care if they have a diverse idea, but people radical left or radical right, I just don't think that that's healthy for an organization overall. So if you know people are that way, then I'm going to not be very comfortable with that sort of thing. And we've had great success with wonderful discussions in lots of different committees. So, and just so those directors who are here, is that Karen, I've asked her, she's going to be working with the PAR board. So Stacy, that'll be working with you, and I asked Mike if he would move over and work with Logan on the utility board. So they'll be working in relationship to that. So, and Mike went kicking and screaming and extracting. I have to pay my stipend as a mayor to him for the next.
Hey, he said that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's on record.
You have
that on record.
That's right. He's doubled his wage. He went from $1 to $2 now. So, so anyway, okay.
So I think based upon that statement, just for clarity, as I've understood it, you have this broad assignment for the board, and then everything has been organized underneath it. And I'm not going to remember them all here, but like on the utility board, we have responsibilities at Southern Utah Valley Power Systems and the Solid Waste Board and Southern Utah Valley Municipal Water Users Association. And the council members kind of work out between each of you and let us know, please, kind of who's going to handle which assignments. And generally, the opposite will serve as a backup on those responsibilities. So the same would apply to PAR Board, which probably has assignments to things like the museum and maybe Miss Springville and Folk Fest and things like that. So whatever all those assignments are. And those you can find those when we send out the packet of kind of both council assignments and then board and commission appointees underneath that. So we'll get that out to you probably tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So as you said, the PAR board, also the museum falls underneath that?
I believe so. Is that right, or are they under
But
community board?
We're gonna split that, I think we're gonna split that so Mike stays on the museum portion of it.
Talk to him, and that's okay with us, but we just need to know what's going on.
We can talk through that, so, yeah.
Quick question on this process. So this has been in place for,
Just
4
for
years.
4 years. Yeah.
okay.
This particular
This
process.
isn't new, so.
But so this is like, I'll recommend somebody to you, Mayor, but this is saying that it has to be, after we confer about it, the mayor will determine which names to submit for council review?
Yeah, for example, you and I have talked in the past, you've submitted some names, and I've said, great, go ahead. And so we've just invite them and that sort of thing. It's really a mayor appointment,
So
it's
it's a
not an
mayor's
official council.
So mayor's appointment, but it is
approved,
ratified by the city council.
yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
both of you, in essence, are coming to an agreement on it.
Okay,
But it doesn't have to be submitted to this formal group before
No,
we talk to
no,
the
no,
person? Okay.
Right. I mean, so, yeah, just to go through that one more time, kind of come up with your name, confer with the mayor to make sure he's okay with it, check with the person. They'll then fill out an application expecting, so that they're not surprised by a meeting like this, which I nominate him for this. So they're expecting that to happen, and then it's brought for a vote here.
Copy. Okay.
okay, very good.
Thank you.
And I think in the ordinance, there's a provision for, because we were trying to offset that some of them are an 8-year term and some are a 10, something like that, wasn't it?
No, they're actually 2 and 4 year terms to start. And in the first startup period, so only those people that served the first 2-year terms are eligible for going 10 years. They can serve two
right.
full terms. The people that are expiring here will have been a 4-year term, so they can be reappointed
Or one more
time
4-year.
for additional 4 years.
Yeah, okay, I didn't say it right, but that's what I
But
was
then you said
thinking.
there was an additional term that they could go for. Is that, but it still expires at 8 or 10?
No, so if you have people that have expiring, if I'm hearing that right, if they have expiring terms right now, that everyone on a board is eligible for one additional term.
One additional term, okay.
Yeah. And I'm saying board very consciously there because we also have, we have like planning commission and we have the library board. We have others. We have other boards and commissions out there that may have people that are on different cycles because those boards have been in place longer than 4 years.
Yeah. And they can be off for a cycle and come back on?
They actually can, yeah. There's nothing prohibiting that in the ordinance.
I don't have anybody that wants to do that. It's just a question.
It's happened.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
We do have a closed session need.
We do, don't we? I need a motion to adjourn to a closed session.
Can we do property and litigation?
Yep.
Thanks.
I'll make a motion to close and move into a closed session for property and litigation.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mindy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes?
Logan?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.